right? I believe that. That makes sense to me. And so it's important to know where the company came from. It's also important to know where each other came from, right? And so one of the steps that we're going to be taking in order to help facilitate that is for everyone here that hasn't taken a DISC assessment that we don't have. I see show of hands. Who has not taken a DISC assessment? No DISC, no DISC. Everybody else, we have your DISC? We have your DISC? Or just the step 1 survey 2? We have the DISC? Okay, great. So the only 2 people were Jasmine and
the DISC assessment.
Sheila. Okay.
Jen and Sheila definitely.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to create a little placard that we can buy from Walker Stamp and Seal, and it's going to have 3 to 5 bullet points. This is the type of person that you are, right? And so, Angela, whenever I walk into your office, if you're the type of person who just likes to get straight to the point, it's going to say that. We walked into Life Church a few years ago to meet with them about doing construction. One of the things that jumped out to us when we walked in, the receptionist had a placard on her desk, and it had her name, and then it had 3 to 5 bullet points. And the next office that we walked into had the same thing. And by the 4th or 5th person, I'm like, God, this is a genius. I don't know who Shelly is, but just looking at her, I already know who I'm dealing with, right? She likes to get straight to the point. She doesn't like small talk, right? And then somebody else's placard said the exact opposite. So that's great. That's great. That's something that we're trying to do to help know how to communicate with each other and know where each other are coming from before we start to communicate. And then that ties back into knowing where the company's coming from, right? And so if you guys are wondering, well, why is the culture like such and such here at Design Guild Group? I hope we kind of filled in the blanks, or at least some of the blanks for you guys today. It's not a company that received funding from a hedge fund in New York City. It's a company that was started from a dining room table. Okay? Not even the office. The office, that was a year later. It's a company that was started at a dining room table. That's the company. Okay? So, yeah, it's important to know. I wish I could have thought about this earlier and made a bigger deal about this over the years. But if you guys don't understand that, if you guys don't know that history, the company was started at a dining room table, really? Well, yeah, that's why we push so hard. Now you know our history. Now you know why we try so hard. It's part of who we are. It's how we got started. It's why we're here today. It's why there's so many plaques on the wall. It's who we are. So, okay, so and then you guys just heard Josh talking about our business coach. Shit, you guys are supposed to know what you're doing. Okay, I guess so. I guess so, but you know, even if I did know everything in the world, does that mean that I don't want to make myself a better person? Absolutely. I do want to be a better person. And so if there's a business coach that's going to charge us an exorbitant amount of money a quarter and give Dima grief, it's worth it, right? It's worth it. He's making us better. It gives Dima a lot of grief. He's expensive, okay? But I'm trying to make a big deal about that to drive home just how important that is to us to become better. One of the things that I know about Dima's story, she had a mentor. I'm sure a lot of people in this room had a mentor. I had a mentor. So not everybody had a mentor though, right? Especially at a young age. And looking back on my experience, why did I have a mentor? So there's a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons though that ties into what I'm talking about right now is even at that point, that young punk 20-year-old, I wanted to become better. I wasn't too cool to be all up Bob's butt trying to learn from him, right?
And Bob was not a nice person. That's usually the thing about mentors. They're not sweet. They're not handing out mentorships. Hey, you want to be my, no, that's not the way that works. Bob had a lot of people that wanted to be close to him for 30 seconds, right? To advance their own career. And so, anyways, I feel like that's one of the things that will give you some insight into my personality. I feel like I've always wanted to become a better person. If that's learning from somebody else, if that's reading, if that is just through trial and error, trying to become a better person, that's always been very important to me. So this is one of the things that I came across just recently. I guess this is a new book that just came out, and so it's gotten a lot of traction on Forbes and on LinkedIn, and probably a whole bunch of other websites. But it seems like somebody has compiled 15 surprising things ultra-productive people do differently, which is great, because once again, my background, there's, I wasn't born middle class, right? And so that's something that's always with me, right? I've always felt like I was the underdog, and that I had to try harder than other people. So I love this stuff. I love all of this stuff. I'm going to skim through it really quickly, all 15 things. I don't want to talk about any one of them, but what I wanted to ask you guys is, which one of these items do you have a problem with? Which one of these items jumps out at you? Which one of these items doesn't make sense to you? So number 1, they focus on minutes. Number 2, they set daily priorities. Number 3, they don't use to-do list.
That one jumps out of me. Obvious reasons. Go ahead.
Number 4, they beat procrastination with time travel. Number 5, they make it home for dinner. Number 6, they use a notebook. Number 7, they only check email 3 times a day.
I have a problem with that one.
This is ultra-productive people. They only check email 3. Okay. They avoid meetings at all costs. They say no to almost everything. They follow the 80-20 rule. They delegate or outsource almost everything. They have work things for days of the week. They touch things only once. They have a consistent morning ritual. They don't think about time. They focus on energy. Which one can we talk about as a collective group? Okay, if you're looking for me to give you the, that's not coming.
It's difficult to only look at your emails.
I'm sorry?
It's difficult to look at your emails only 3 times a day.
Okay.
Because they bring up kind of.
Okay. Awesome. What else? What else is in there?
I'm going to say number 14 is not one that I think it's preferable. It's
Thanks.
preferable. I get up every morning by 5 o'clock. I spend from 5 to 6 on my computer, relaxing, looking at what has transpired in the day, and then go take my shower, do my stuff, and get in the car by 6:30. That's my day. And I think it's a good way of me making sure I'm prepared for the day mentally. I get to work, I have a bite to eat, check my emails, and then begin the day and go forward with that. So I feel awake. I'm not stressed because I'm late to work. I'm not stressed because it's raining and I'm going to be late to work. I mean, that was one of the things this morning. Everybody was rushing around and all of a sudden traffic sucked. Well, if you leave 5 or 10 minutes earlier than that, you won't have that problem. But this is me. I've always done this for 40 years. I've gotten up early. I go to bed early. Everybody in here probably stays up way past I do. I start going towards the bedroom about 8 o'clock. I read for 30 minutes and I'm asleep.
Dinner time. Yes.
Dinner time is supposed to be at 6. Not
I
supposed to be
get so much
after 6.
sipping.
If you started earlier, you get but that's what I've done in my life. I've always been an early riser.
You make a great point. It's all about that ritual. It helps change your. It's a really, I love that one.
I look forward to the weekend when I can sleep in a little later, which is usually 5:30, maybe 6. So, you know, but now that and since I've gotten married to Carol, she now is looking at 8 and 8:30 for sleep time.
Wow.
And I think we're less stressed over the day because we started earlier and we're not behind. We don't start off behind.
I love
That's,
that.
that's what I would add to this. 14 would be my favorite.
Don't start off behind. It's a mistake.
Who else is an early riser?
Oh, yes.
Can you guys add to that at all? Why? See, obviously not waking up and staring out a window. So why do you wake up early?
Sometimes I do.
Oh, okay.
I like to sit still. I mean, that's the best thing about my morning. You know, that I don't have anything to do. You know, that's the best part. I mean, there's not many times throughout my day that I can say I don't have anything going on. And so it's nice to have that time to just not have anything besides the dog.
Well, there you go. That's-
She gets me up at 3:30.
You have a routine?
Yeah, absolutely. I wake up at 5 in the morning. About 5:30, I feed the dog, and we go out and walk for 30 minutes, and then I come back and shower, and I can be out the door by 6:30.
Jasmine?
It's definitely a kickstart mentally. Helps me get ahead in my day, so I'm not hitting the office wondering what I have on my plate. I'm already thinking about what my accomplishments should be for the day, inside and outside of work. So by the time I go to the office, I know what I'm supposed to accomplish, and I know how, you know, I've mapped things out. So yeah.
Good. So my new routine was, I actually bought a calendar. I went back to a physical calendar.
And you put a to-do list on it?
It has a to-do list built in. It has my to-do list built in, and every night what I do is I write my next day's stuff, and I have my to-do list on the right. And I did it because I saw once. Because when I found my old one that I had back in 2007 when I started the company, and I used to keep it. And I realized how much better on time I was. So I still keep my electronic calendar, but over the weekend I plan out the whole week, and then every night I go through my ritual of what's in the next day, and in the morning when I wake up, I can review my schedule of office. I know it. And I manage to just become more, I feel like I'm on time meetings more, I'm getting a lot more things done.
I would say one thing for the people in the office, the superintendents, we have always been people that get to work early. I have workers that want to go to work at 7 or 6:30 or 6. And for me, I can't fault them for wanting to get there early and leaving early. But I'm going to give you an example. I had a company, we did Cisco Foods. And I had everybody was working early, and then we got to the tile. The tile guys wanted to come in at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, but then they wanted to work till 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And I said, I tell you what, I get here at 6. That's what time I opened up the building at Cisco. I said, I get here at 6. If you get here at 6:30, I will stay, because I had to stay with them. We couldn't have anybody working without me being there. So I said, I'll stay. If you get here at 6:30, I'll stay until midnight if you want. If you want to work late. But you have to make that dedication to get there early enough, and then we'll decide about that. You know, it was just a difference of opinion, but that's out in the field, we work early.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm usually on the phone by 7 o'clock waking up contractors. Hey, did you get this for me? Blah, 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 blah. You know, and, you know, the submittal process. I don't think there's anything wrong with calling people early in the morning and telling them you're expecting something by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. They work for us.
So I've been reading about that one particular thing. Well, to start off with, their habits, right? So I can remember someone telling me once, don't look for that home run. So, and this is a guy that made a lot of mistakes. Told me he had made a lot of mistakes. So we're talking one day, and I was talking about some harebrained scheme. And he's like, no. It's like, don't look for that home run. It's like, I've been trying that my whole life. Just take the little small victories, and by the time you get to my age, you're going to be way further ahead than I am. I've always been looking for it. And so that kind of resonated with me, because we're all like that when we're young. I don't know, how am I going to win the lottery? Anyways, so they're habits, right? And I'm not waiting for that home run. If I'm waiting for that home run, I'm waiting for that lottery win, and shit, it's not a good plan. If I'm instituting habits and taking little small victories, one day at a time, according to him, I'm going to be way further ahead by the time I'm his age. And I believe that resonated with me. So, the thing about the morning ritual, gosh, I've read this. I'm not a morning person. I hate mornings. Tim is a morning person. I hate mornings. It's hard for me to get out of bed. And so this is something, I'm sorry?
It shows that in this.
Yes. This is something that I empathize with, because it's so hard for me to learn how to be the morning person and want to get out of bed in the mornings. But I was reading about all these successful people and how that's just one of the little habits. It's not a home run, right? That didn't put $1 million in their pocket because they woke up early on Monday. It's a habit they do every single freaking day. They have this morning ritual. They wake up early. I've read some of them. Ariana Huffington meditates. So she's got this time to where she meditates and she clears her mind. And then her morning ritual was awesome. She's got it down to the minute. Wake up at this time. Until this time, I'm doing meditating. I do
Can I tell you what forced her to that? She had a breakdown. She had a breakdown because of all the hours that she was working, and I'm pretty sure something happened at work. She passed out. She had something major happen to her life, and that's what caused her to get to that point. Hers was a forced habit that she learned because it became her life. Her life was threatened because of her bad habits, and that's why she now meditates. It's a really neat story.
And I want to say it was her too. She was talking about it's all the way that you look at your day. So most people, like myself, whenever I wake up in the morning, that's the beginning of the new day. Okay, it's kind of ambiguous. What if the beginning of the day was about 7:30, 8 o'clock, whenever I had showered, had dinner, and I'm winding down to get to bed on time? What if that's the beginning of the day? Because that's what's giving me the energy and preparing me for the things that I have to do. And so if the beginning of my day wasn't whenever the alarm clock goes off, I hate that. The beginning of and at that point, if I went to bed late, forget about it, right? The alarm clock wouldn't matter. It's even harder for me to get up now. Okay, so that day's already screwed. I didn't get out of bed on time. I hit snooze all 12 times. I rushed to work. I'm pissed off when I'm rushed. I don't like being rushed. I'm always in a situation where I'm rushed, but I don't like being rushed. I really do not like that. Okay? So, but I've already screwed myself, right? Because I didn't get to bed on time. Okay, so that resonated with me as well. The beginning of the day is not in the morning. The beginning of the day, as far as you should look at it, is getting ready for bed and making sure that you go to bed on time. That's the beginning of the day. You miss that part, forget about the day. Try again tomorrow. Your day's already shot. And so if you can start winding down, 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, right? And you're in bed by 9 o'clock, you need 8 hours of sleep. There's nobody challenged me on this, that there's too much medical evidence about REM sleep and everything. You need 8 hours of sleep.
In a perfect
Okay.
world.
I'm a 6-hour guy.
Yeah, I've been.
So think about it, 9 o'clock,
So it's not.
5 o'clock.
It is, so he's right on the rim, there's a lot of studies. Find your rhythm. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Find your rhythm, it's 6 to 8 hours. But you're right, I mean, I do 8 hours, but some people, if you can find your rhythm on 6, but it's important, it's definitely a minimum of 6.
So get to bed on time. If I'm trying to wake up at 5, which is what I personally try to do, then that means I have to be asleep by 9. Not in bed by 9, definitely not brushing my teeth. I have to be asleep by 9. So now I'm working backwards. Okay, so I need to start doing this wind down about 8 o'clock.
You're young. You're going to bed at 9, you're young. And I go to bed at 12 and up at 4. Every day, even on the weekend.
Yeah, but you've had a rough life.
And my grandkids ain't making it any easier.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you young.
Yeah, they do.
Kids.
They're going to do that or kill me one day.
I'm in bed for my niece and nephew go to bed.
So things to aspire to, right? Doesn't mean that we're all going to do it. It's just a little small victory every day, and it's one of the habits that productive, successful people have in their habit toolbox. Okay, get to bed on time. That's the beginning of your day. You got to bed on time to get whatever the required amount of sleep is for you. Then you have a chance of having a good day. If you don't get in bed on time, just forget about it. Try again tomorrow. Okay. But I'll send you guys the article, that way you can read it yourself about Ariana Huffington. But you'll see if you're looking at the Tim Cook guy or the guy from LinkedIn or the guy from Twitter, Jack Dorsey, man, what do they all have in common? They're all doing the same thing? No. They're all in the same industry? No. One thing that they all have in common is they've got these little small, and they've broken this down for themselves really well. They get these little small victories continuously. None of those names won a lottery, right? None of them are waiting for a home run. It's one continuous victory, and it's just a compound effect. Shit, right? They've been doing it for so long. They're successful. They really compounded all those little victories together. So, hope this motivates and inspires you guys. It's not all about work. We can pass this on to you guys if you don't have that. Have that passion for making yourself better personally. Do that for yourself. We do that. That's all I have.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.